Hello, in this tutorial I'm going to talk to you about finding Florida legislative history online. But before we go out online and look for this legislative history, I want to talk to you about the various pieces that you're going to be able to find. First, session laws. And so the session laws, those are the public laws as a whole before they were cut up and by subject and codified into the statutes. You can find them on the Florida House website and the Florida Senate website from 1998 to the present. However, your best bet for session laws is the Florida Legislative website, Online Sunshine, as they have them from 1845 to the present, and finding them on that site is really easy when you have your session law number, which you can find in the history note after your statute. So I will show you how to do that in a moment. Next, if you're looking for Florida bills, again, you can find them on the Florida House website and the Florida Senate website from 1998 to the present. Earlier materials, you are either going to have to find them in print in a library or request them from the State Archives of Florida. Prior to 1998, there's not a really great spot to find those online, not even in Westlaw. Staff analyses, so those committee reports that really analyze a bill, that most important piece of legislative history. Again, the Florida House website and the Florida Senate website from 1998 to the present. They also are available in print in libraries from 1988 to about 2001. Prior to that, again, you're going to have to reach out to the State Archives of Florida. They should have them from the mid-70s to the present. Prior to the mid-70s, access is a little spotty. There wasn't a requirement really to keep track of all of this information, and before 1969, they're just not available. They were not kept or preserved prior to 1969. For debates, again, your best bet for those are going to be online videos on the Florida House website or the Florida Senate website or the State Archives of Florida. And then some other documents that you may want to look for are committee reports, committee hearings, and governor statements. But now that we've talked a little bit about the pieces, let's actually go online and look for these. And the first place I want to start is Online Sunshine. So really quickly, let's take a look at a statute. If you scroll to the end of a statute, you are going to find a history note, and it's going to give you all of the relevant session laws to that statute. So you can see there's 81-142, 83-217, and so on. And so those are your session laws. You can then find your session laws in the laws of Florida. And to find them on the laws of Florida on this site, you can see you can use the drop down here and they go from 1997 to 2023. If you need the older ones, the 1845 to 1996, you would just use this link here to find those. But what you can see is when you find your session law, if I was looking at session law 2023-016, if that was the relevant session law that I was looking for the legislative history for, if I look over to the right, I can find the corresponding bill number. And that's really going to help me when I go out to the Florida House website or the Florida Senate website to find the legislative history for that bill, or if I need to make a request to the state archives, they are going to want to know my bill number. So you always want to make note of your bill number. Now that you know how to find your bill number, let's move over to the House website and the Senate website to find more information about finding the legislative history for your bill. So let's start with the Florida House of Representatives website. Going across the top, you have some quick searches, so you can search for your bill. Just choose your year. They have going back to 1998, so just choose the year of your bill, enter your bill number, or you can enter some text here and click search. There's also a place to search for statutes, though I think Online Sunshine is your best bet if you're doing statutory research, but that is here if you need it. Underneath these quick searches, we do have some links. And the first one is for bills. Now, I recommend using this link if you're going to have to run an actual search for a bill because the search is a little bit more robust. I would only use this quick search up at the top if you have your year and you have your bill number. Just choose your year, enter your bill number, quick search, and get to your bill really quickly. But if you need to run an actual search by keyword or anything like that, I would recommend clicking on the bills link and then using this form to run your search. Then going on across the top, you have links to your representatives. There are links to committees, and remember, again, those committee websites are where you would find any hearings that may have been posted. There's a link to the House schedule. They do have some publications available on the House website. But what I really want to point out is this tracking link. So if you are following a critical piece of legislation, maybe it's going to impact your practice or impact your client or anything like that, and you want to track that piece of legislation, you can use that with the tracking on this website. And then you'll get notifications whenever a key action is taken that affects that piece of legislation. So that can be really helpful. And before we leave this website, I do want you to see what a bill looks like on the Florida House website. And so once you're on the site for a bill, you're going to find this little overview right away. That kind of gives you an overview of what happened. You're going to find the effective date if it became a law. You're also going to find the last event. So in this case, it was given a public law number, but maybe you're going to find, it passed the House or it passed the Senate or whatever happened to it would be in this information right here, this last event. Scrolling on down, you're going to find information about House referrals. You're going to find any related bills, and you can see there's a Senate bill on here and there's some House bills. Remember, the House is usually going to have a lot of the Senate's information on it, and the Senate's going to have a lot of the House information. They both keep each other's content on their websites, but you may find some discrepancies, for example, like in the committee reports and stuff like that. Maybe if it's a Senate bill, the Senate's website is going to have more of the Senate committee reports than the House actually has. So I do recommend looking at the appropriate chamber's site for your bills just to make sure you're seeing everything. But you can use whichever site you want to search initially because they do have both each other's information on their sites, if that makes sense. Scrolling on down, you're going to find all the bill text here. So how was it enrolled, all of that back and forth from the committees, and how it was originally filed, things like that. So, it can be really helpful when you're doing your legislative history to look at those different versions of the bill and see if there were any key changes that could kind of indicate the intent behind the bill. Scrolling on down, you're going to find the staff analyses. Remember that most important piece of legislative history is going to be available there. You're going to find the vote history. You're also going to find the bill's history. So all of the little steps that it took in its process through the legislative process. So all that your bill went through, you're going to find it here. And when that happened, you're also going to find a link to statutes that were referenced in the bill. And you'll have quick links out to those statutes as well. So the Florida House website, really great for doing your Florida legislative history research. But I also want to show you the Florida Senate website, which is equally as good for Florida legislative history. And actually, it's my favorite for starting my Florida legislative history. I think the layout is just a little bit more simple and easier to use. But right at the start, it's kind of similar in layout. You have this quick search at the top, so you can enter your bill number, enter your year, and get to it right away. So that's a quick way to find your bill number if you've got the citation to it. You also have that search to the statutes up here, but again, Online Sunshine is better for your statutes. And also just to show you really quick, they have from 1998 to the present, so same as the Florida House. And then below that, you have some tabs. So first, you have a link to your senators. You have a link for committees. There is a sessions tab and where you can find a link to bills and journals and everything like that. But remember this bills, if you're going to run an actual search of your bill and not use a quick citation with the bill number and the year, you're going to want to use this link so that you can run a better search of your bills. There's a laws tab where you can link out to the statutes, the Constitution, or the laws of Florida. There is a media tab, and this is where you would find videos of hearings for current legislation. There's also this reference tab where you're going to find actually a really good glossary available on here. So if maybe you don't remember which is the final version of the bill that is sent to the governor for signing. Is it enrolled? Is it engrossed? What is it? You could look in the glossary and it's going to tell you. Or if you are confused by the plethora of abbreviations that they use, you could use the glossary to go see what that abbreviation actually means. And then the Senate also has a tracker just like the House had. So again, if you were following a piece of legislation, I recommend setting up a tracker so that you can get notified when key actions take place that affect that piece of legislation. And before we leave the Senate's website, I do want to show you what a bill looks like on the Senate. So I'm going to go to my Sessions tab, I'm going to click Bill, and we're going to look at the same bill that we looked at on the House's website. So I know it was from 2023. I know it was a House bill, so I'm going to choose House, and then I know it was bill number 1. And here I have my bill, House Bill number 1. And then just like we had on the House website, I have this little overview to start with. Over on the right, I could click on View Bill Summary if I wanted to do that. There's a link to those glossary of legislative terms. If anything in here confuses me, I can do that. I have a link to track this bill. I mean, this one's already become a law, so no point in doing that just for this one. But if you were, looking at a current piece that was making its way through, maybe you want to go ahead and click track this bill to quickly set up a tracking alert. And then just like on the House website, we've got the effective date of this bill, the last action that was taken, and then you also have a link to get to a PDF version of the bill text if you so choose. And then below that, you're going to find tabs. Now, whereas the House was set up where you had to kind of scroll through everything, it was just like a running scroll, the Senate lays theirs out in tabs a lot like Congress.gov did. And I just think this is a easier way to sort of find your information, and that's why I tend to, prefer the Florida Senate website to the House website, but both are really great. So the first tab is your bill history. So again, all those little steps that the bill took along its way through the process. Next, you're going to find a link for those related bills and quick links out to them. The next tab are the bill text, so all those different versions of the bill, and you can click on a PDF to view those and see, the changes that took place to your bill on its way through. There is a link to the amendments. So you could quickly, go through and see how many amendments happened to your bill and view a PDF of those amendments. The next tab you have is that analyses tab. They call them bill analysis here, but they are those staff analyses, that most important piece of legislative history. So quick and easy to get to those on the Senate website. Next, you have your vote history. So you can see, was this a close vote? Was this, a runaway? You can see how closely, your bill passed or didn't pass. And then finally, you have that citations link or tab. This is going to show you all the statutes that were affected by this bill, and a quick link out to the page of the bill that talks about the statute. So it's an easy way to sort of see, okay, well, the statute was important to me. I can go look and really quick and see maybe what changes are now taking place to this statute. And that is it for this tutorial. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. You can email us, call us, or stop by and see us.